My name's Mary. I'm contributing editor here at Consequence. We are so delighted to have you all as our August band of the month. So if you wouldn't mind, just go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I'm Téa. I play guitar.
My name's Ada. I play drums.
My name's Edith, and I'm the vocalist.
So the first thing that I kind of wanted to dive in on is that you all met through the internet. And I was just curious about what it's like finding each other and coming together as a group and as a band in the internet age.
Yeah, so back in 2015, I was 14 years old on YouTube looking up drum covers, came across one of Ada's because she posted them at the time. And it was so cool seeing a girl around my age playing an instrument because I'd never experienced that before. So I reached out to her and I was like, hey, you want to start a band? And for some reason she said yes, even though in New Jersey and I lived in Florida. So that shouldn't work, but we're Gen Z. We grew up on the internet. So we were like, we'll figure it out. And then we did.
Yeah. In my brain, I was like, but why wouldn't it work?
Yeah.
Because we have the internet. We can send files back and forth. We can Skype.
Exactly.
So.
And we held auditions for a vocalist, which is how Edith found us.
Yeah, I was so young. I was 14 and I was just on YouTube. And it's so crazy because it's such fate that we're together. Because I just opened my YouTube app and then recommended it was Ada's video that she posted about them needing a singer. Just I didn't even look anything up, I just opened the app. And so I clicked it and then I tried out and then now we're here.
How many vocalists did you all audition?
Oh, there was a lot, surprisingly, for a band that had no music. We had just formed.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what it was. So we had a bassist at the time who did a lot of 5 Seconds of Summer bass covers. So she was big on, 5 Sauce YouTube.
And I was big on 21 Pilots YouTube. So we kind of got a mix of those that came together.
They're like, I want to be in a band too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we probably got around 50 submissions. And I remember keeping all of the submissions and their ages and their states in a little notebook that I had.
We took it very seriously.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been serious from the beginning, but you all clearly found each other the right way. And something I love about what you just mentioned about that energy of why wouldn't it work is something that I really feel from you guys. And I love that everything that's happened has been because you have done it yourself, whether that be from finding each other and writing and gigging and rehearsing. And so that's just so admirable, and all that hard work is totally paying off. And so I was just wondering if you could talk to me a little bit about what it's like to have that in a historically male-dominated space.
I think back to our DIY days and would not change a single thing. I'm so glad that everything happened the way that it did, because we basically had to take on every single role ourselves for a long time. Manager, booking agent, tour manager, all that stuff. And it shaped who we are today. And no one can say that we didn't work for everything that, we've accomplished so far, which is very important for us as women of color in this, white male dominated scene. We're showing that literally we're working so hard. Y'all can't say anything. We have earned our place here.
Absolutely. How old are you all now?
20.
I'm 22.
I'm 20.
And what you just described, booking and managing, those are things that people literally go to college and get degrees for. And you all, you hit the ground running. Yeah.
Always how are we going to go on tour? How are we going to start selling our own merch? How are we going to do anything? We're let's just Google it, figure it out. Let's put our heads together and just do it ourselves.
Because we didn't have the luxury of having friends and bands who could just put us on their tour. We didn't have connects with booking agents who were real tight with, some of the bands in our scene. So we knew that we wanted to live this dream. And we knew that we had to do it ourselves in order to get there, because no one's going to hand it to us. But we weren't going to let it stop us that we didn't know how to do it. Literally, Google is your biggest like friend. Like you could just search anything on there and there's something that will help you accomplish what you want to do.
Yeah.
I feel like that
Sorry.
I was scratching my leg. I feel like that mindset is just engraved in us as women of color and Black women, because the world's not going to give us anything. We have to work for every single thing ever that people that aren't of color or men don't have to work for. So I think it's just like second nature.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to see all of your hard work paying off. And like I mentioned before we started, I love the EP. And so I'm just really curious when it comes to writing and creating this kind of work, if there's anything that's particularly important to you guys, whether that's the sound or the lyrics or instrumentals, arrangements, or it's probably just a combination, but how do you kind of piece all those moving parts together?
Yeah. So like every single aspect of our songs is important to us and it's intentional because we like to have very cohesive sounding, works of art, which you can't get if you're just not paying attention to those details. You'll be able to hear it. But yeah, our songs usually start out with like the instrumentals, usually guitar idea. And then Edith will add like her melody on top of it. We'll kind of like, fix everything up collectively and then start working on the lyrics. It's kind of like stages.
It's the same. It's stages and it's never changed.
Even when we didn't have the luxury of living together, we would, do it the same exact way. Even after living together, we still do it the same way. We still send our ideas like through iMessage.
I feel like we just love organization. It's so important. And we have like a whole system. And even when we co-wrote with a couple of people last time we were in LA and it still stayed the same. Like our stages and our the cohesiveness of how everything is supposed to sound and just like our stages of writing, it's just like it's ingrained in us now and it works so well. So like why change it?
Absolutely.
With Model Citizens specifically, before we started rewriting it, I guess, we really focused on what we wanted it to sound like instead of just, writing a song in the dark. We wanted it to be super energetic, super hard hitting, that gets people pumped up. And we feel like we pulled that off.
I totally agree. I love Mapped Out, especially those vocals. Are you kidding me? Like,
it's Mariah.
Y'all, it is so good. And so obviously you've gotten some comparisons to Paramore and we do stan Queen Hayley Williams. You mentioned 21 Pilots, but I would love to hear in your own words some of the places that you find inspiration, whether that be other artists or even film, TV, books, literature. Like what's really life-giving for you guys as creators?
So collectively, and then I guess we can get into our like individual influences. Collectively, we're all really influenced by the stuff that we listen to like as kids growing up. Which would be actually a lot of like camp rock type stuff. Disney Channel had so much rock when we were growing up. Rockstar.
Yeah.
They made Hillary Duff a rock star.
Yeah.
I didn't want to bring up the Cheetah Girls, but now that we're here,
Girls.
Oh my God, that music is so good though.
It's so good.
So good.
And also like the stuff on the radio back then was rock based. Like Pink was like super big, Avril Lavigne.
Yeah. Everyone was playing actual instruments.
Yeah. Which is like obviously we're a band, so that's very important to us. But yeah, like you can kind of hear a little bit of all those influences. Even, artists like Kesha actually had a little bit of influence in the EP. Which actually makes a lot of sense because for us, that was probably the most nostalgic time. And pop punk is all about nostalgia. And we're just putting those nostalgic elements in our songs.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Can you tell me a little bit more about some of those individual influences that you mentioned?
As a vocalist, I just love being a singer because for me, like singing doesn't have a genre. I can sing whatever I want over whatever I want. And it's awesome because it's just your voice. Like I don't necessarily. So I take a lot of inspiration from a lot of different types of genres and vocalists. I loved like Kelly Clarkson. I loved Pink. Pink is like one of my favorite. Oh my gosh. I love Pink so much. I loved Demi Lovato. I love, and then it goes around with like Aretha Franklin or Lauryn Hill or Billie Holiday or basically any woman that paved the way for herself and just like it's just a great vocalist. Like it's just her voice. Like you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's just great. I have so many different influences, but
yeah, that's a great mindset.
For me, it goes. My favorite band of all time is Linkin Park. Been in love with them since I was like 7, and that was the kind of start of it all because it branches out to bands like Blink-182 and Green Day or Sum 41, and then it branched out to other bands like 21 Pilots and stuff like that as I got older. And then there's pop punk bands, of course, like Neck Deep, The Story So Far. And then it goes into bands like Issues, and then it goes into like Architects and North Lane. Like it's all over the place. But one of the things that I like love about all of these is like, first of all, like the drumming, of course, is great in all of these bands too. But like they all just brought something to the table that like I loved in music, and they all had their own like personal personalities, different personalities, I meant to say, I'm sorry, with each band. And they've just all influenced me in so many different ways, not only my drumming, just with like music in general and how I view it, I guess.
That's so great. For me, I was mainly influenced by, which you wouldn't get just listening to the guitars, but bands like The Script and The Fray, who had like really melodic guitar parts in their songs. And also like those earlier, I guess, yeah, they're considered pop punk. Bands like The Starting Line, Hit the Lights, Cartel, Forever the Sickest Kids, that like the late 2000s era of pop punk. It's just so good. It was so good. And no one's making it anymore. So I really want to bring it back. But yeah, and then like everything they said, also listened to. Yeah.
That's so great. Yeah. So for this EP specifically for Model Citizen, I know you mentioned sonically that you wanted it to be super energetic. You wanted to get people pumped up, but I was really excited thematically. I feel like it's very hopeful and very much looking to the future. Do you think that kind of came from this past year, or is that how you guys operate as a whole with that kind of unstoppable optimism? Where did that come from?
I think that we started making our songs have a positive message when we realized how truly negative pop punk is.
Yeah, like what?
Yeah, like obviously everyone feels sad, everyone feels anger. It's okay to feel those emotions, and it's nice to have songs that, you know, help you realize that you're not alone. But there should still be some kind of positive message that keeps you going. Because that's at the end of the day was so important.
Yeah.
And growing up, you know, we're super young. We're, you know, just entering adulthood. There's a lot of negative feelings with that because it's scary. It's an entirely new experience, but there's still hope at the end of the day. And if you're not where you want to be, you can get to where you want to be, which is just our mindset as a band.
And like, of course there's some sadder, more negative songs in the EP, like Mapped Out. It's about feeling lost, never gonna change. It's about like, dang, I suck, I'm never gonna change. But it's like finding the balance between songs and writing about both of them in like a healthy way and balancing it out. And yeah, like it's just our mindset though, because we've been writing positive songs since Bigger Than Me. Like Tyranny is a song about and May the Odds, and like it's just about knowing there's hope and just not backing down and just being awesome.
And even with Mapped Out, like the overall message is that like you're searching, like you're trying to find yourself, even though you're acknowledging that you're lost. And like never going to change about accountability. Like you're holding yourself accountable. You're not going to put the blame on anyone else anymore, even though, yeah, it is like kind of negative, but there's always those like undertones in there.
Well, as a listener, I totally felt that balance. So I think y'all nailed it. But to shift gears a little bit, I also think you guys have really awesome stage presence. Do you think that's something that comes just from how you came up rehearsing and kind of grinding it out and gigging together? Or are there specific people that you emulate when you're on stage?
I just think there's like, we all agree that, in my opinion, growing up, there's nothing worse than seeing a band that was boring. Like, I was like, if I didn't want to see Jump Around, I would have just stayed home, listened to the record. Like like a live performance is so important, and I don't know. I just feel like we just don't want to be boring. I think it's just that simple. We just don't want to, and like also like how can you like not be like energetic because like you're feeling the music. It's like listening to a song just sitting there.
Right?
That's so really hard to do, by the way.
Especially to our music because it's so like,
you have to like bop your head or like
do something,
you know.
Plus, like that's what really drew us to pop punk was like the community and like going to live shows and just seeing everyone wild out and like crowd surf and mosh. It just looks awesome, and like people will be more likely to do that if you yourself are feeling the music on stage.
They feel less shy about it.
Yeah.
What's the best concert that each of you have ever been to?
Whoa.
I've been to so many.
It's a hard question. I don't even know if I would have an answer for that. I'm just curious now that we were talking about it.
I definitely have an answer. I just have to like remember. Makes sense.
One of the most influential shows I've been to was Circa Survive's 10-year anniversary for Jaturna. And I just like, there's such great performers that it was like everything about that show was amazing. And I was never bored watching them once. I just think, and everything about their show was perfect. Their lights, the way they were moving, the way they sounded, everything was perfect. I just love seeing really professional, like older bands like that. Just like, dang, like they've toured so much, they're so good. And it's like, I hope we're like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I always have to remind ourselves that like we literally have not toured that much. We're just getting started.
Yeah, especially because this past year and a half was the way that it was. So what's kind of on the horizon for you in terms of touring?
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh, so much.
Yeah, a lot.
Tour starts this month, which is crazy.
Oh my God.
To think about.
What day is it? The 4th?
Uh-huh.
In 20 days.
Yay! Oh, that's so exciting.
Less?
Maybe
I leave on the 23rd.
Oh, so 19 days.
19 days, yeah. Ain't counting.
Oh gosh. Yeah, we leave for Coheed and Cambria and The Used on August 23rd. First show is August 27th. And then we leave that tour early to go overseas with All Time Low in the main. And then we come back and then do the US with All Time Low and Nothing Nowhere.
That's all that's announced, yeah. But we have even more tours like after that aren't announced yet.
Oh, that's so exciting.
What we're looking at for the next months.
Is that so exciting to you guys to be touring with a group that you probably listened to in your teen years? That must be really surreal.
Feels really weird.
But like this is literally what we were working for before COVID, because we still had that, before COVID, we weren't signed. We were still a small local band. So all those like small tours that we were booking ourselves were like, we were just getting tours under our belt. So then we could like pitch ourselves to bands like these and be like, hey, please take us on tour.
I was so glad we did that, because then it's like, you get a lot of practice shows under you and you start to feel out everything. It's really
here
helpful.
You are. Yeah.
If you're in a band, just play shows as much as you can.
Like literally, I don't think we played a single show that was our show that like more than like 30 people showed up.
Who cares how many people are there?
Exactly. Just still give it your all. Like play as if you're playing to 10,000 people.
Yeah. That's it. I think that comes through, and I think that shows in what you all managed to do. So that's so fantastic. And obviously you guys are very, very busy with this group, but I'm curious if you have any hobbies or passions outside of the work that you're doing right now.
Well, my answer here, I don't know. Because I am the type of person that just like, I like to pick up random stuff and see if I can do it. And if I can do it, I'll stick with it for like a year and then I'll forget. But like, cause I like photography. I love Guitar Hero. I love Animal Crossing, RuneScape.
Video games.
The video games comes into that a lot.
Yeah.
But then like, I also love skateboarding, and soccer is just one of those big sports in my brain, and then that's kind of it. That's all that comes to mind.
I don't know. I just like I don't know. I feel like for me, like since my instrument is my body, I'm just always singing. like anywhere. And then I don't know, I just like fashion a lot, and clothes and hair and makeup.
I don't think I really have any hobbies now I'm thinking about it. But also, like you said, we're so busy that I don't even like, I don't feel like I'm missing anything by not having other hobbies because I'm so focused on the band.
I'm always thinking about how I can look crazier.